Okay, folks, welcome back. We're going to start another video here. This time we're going to take a stab at a fan favorite, so to speak. I'm going to do a little magic discussion here. And I'm not going to guarantee it's not going to devolve into a rant bashing Wizards of the Coast, because it probably will run something adjacent to that. But let's have a little chat about... oh man, I pulled the one with the ruined thing here. Anyway, let's talk about something that's near and dear to a lot of current Magic players, and that's the abysmal card quality that gets pumped out with these game pieces. Um, and in a roundabout way, maybe I'll get accused of defending Wizards, current day Wizards, but I'm not really, because what I'm going to try to show folks is that back in the day, the print quality of the cards were kind of hit or miss. Not so much the quality of the cards themselves, but the uh, I didn't mean to say quality. Well, you'll see. I'll kind of point out some of the stuff I'm hinting at. And I dug up a few older cards that I still have here that I can show you. Kind of one thing that we'll notice looking at the cards. It's not so much the front of the cards. They did change a bit going from alpha, beta to unlimited with the color saturation, the darkness, the deepness of the cards and the darks and such. And then, of course, that became shockingly apparent when Revised came out, and everybody was like, "What? What am I looking at here?" Because everything's just so washed out. But yeah, that was the first major difference in card quality there. But the one thing that was kind of obvious with a lot of the Magic cards is the back. And as the card printing kind of evolved slowly, when we first started out, the card backs themselves would become a little... the difference in the back printing becomes a little apparent through different editions or expansions of the game, which kind of raised an issue. These are some older cards, and there's not a big difference, I guess, on first blush with some of these cards. I'm trying to pick out the kind of obvious ones. You might see a little difference, like in the M in the Magic, in the printing there seems to be a little lighter here. This is a little more dark-ish, I guess. We have a beta, and then the Antiquities print here. And then some of the other little foibles. I pulled out these Moorish cavalry, which I've had forever. And you'll notice some of the new players of the game. The symbol here looks a little different from what we have in the current day Magic with the little star or sun there. Wizards thought that this thing wasn't really like sun-ish. Anyway, in Arabian Nights, you had two different printings of the generic monocost there. Man, Moorish Cavalry. What a great card back in the day. You spend 4 and you get a 3/3 trample in white. Oof. That was the beatdown back then. Well, maybe not even. And then we got changing terminology here. When Revised came out, we changed Destroy to Bury. Bury indicates that creatures cannot be regenerated. Hence, that didn't last very long. Let's stroll through some other cards here, trying to show you some differences in the printing here. I think you can kind of see we have a that's a 4th right, 4th edition balance here, and then this must be a maybe that's a 6th edition Armageddon. Borders and stuff kind of changed a little bit. The color was starting to darken in these later sets, but then you can kind of see on the back the black border here is a little more black as opposed to a little less black, I guess. Kind of like these days when you're looking at an OLED screen where you get real black as opposed to a non-OLED where the blacks aren't as black. Yeah, then let's I've pulled up some other oldies here that are I've kept these cards, I guess, really for the flavor text. Chub Toad, classic flavor text there. Goblin Snowman is just funny. Orcish Conscripts. Yeah, all this stuff. Indestructible Aura. Dude's like rocking out. The Demon Horse. Anyway. And a lot of this stuff won't show up on the camera, so I don't know why I'm wasting my time here. But, oh wait, we've got another batch of cards here, which I think had something going on. Or maybe not. I got some birds, 4th edition birds, and Abeyance from Weatherlight, which I pulled out for some reason. I'm not seeing it. Anyhow, but just to go back in time here, talking Magic for those of you who weren't around back in the very first few years, we didn't have card sleeves, and if you were a really observant person or a shifty person, you could identify certain cards on the top of decks by the backs, because you could spot certain differences in the printing to kind of know what was coming up. I don't know if you could spot a particular card, for example. Oh, and here's an interesting few cards here, which I don't know if this translates over the camera so much. But here we have another example of a blacker border, kind of faded, and then the print there, the colors inside this portion, that little kind of wheel, a little darker than this guy here. Anyway, you could kind of point out particular cards and get an idea of what was or was not coming up. Because, if you knew you had a card from a particular set or something that had well, you know what I'm getting at here. Which was different because there were no sleeves back in the day, and especially if you were competitive, you weren't allowed to play with sleeves even if you were to go to one of those higher level fancy tournaments back in the day. You had to play, um, raw dog in your deck there with your moxes and everything. No sleeves and such, which, yikes. Um, and I really wish I still had some cards because there were some. I'm thinking back in the day, there were some examples of cards that the stock you could tell was different from a lot of the other cards. It would just felt thicker. The printing was a much deeper, darker. I'm trying to think if it might have been one of the Urza's, Urza Saga, Urza Legacy. I had a few cards from around then which were just really apparent looking at the back. They didn't match the other cards. Um, so is there a point I'm trying to make here? I don't know. I'm just trying not to bitch about Wizards because I was looking at some cards that I've recently gotten from our lovely folks at Wizards, and I and you know what I'm talking about here. Now I live on the West Coast, the northern West Coast, and fortunately, my local friendly game store, um, his distributor gets a lot of cards that are printed in Japan, and there's a huge difference in the print quality with the Japanese cards and the American cards. Now, it has been sliding off as of late, um, but going back a few years, I mean, it was seriously night and day, and the cards were just, felt thicker. They were a little more glossy. They didn't have that gritty feel to it. Um, and there were just less printing mistakes, like how you had some newer cards just it looks like they were like, I don't know if this is a term, like double inked. I'm trying to kind of uh, use a term like a double die if you're a philatelist out there. Mm, that's a coin collector, folks. If you're a Wait a minute. I'm sorry. No, that's a stamp collector. If you're a numismatist, you know what double die means. It means a coin that's been struck twice by the printer thing. The printer thing. It almost seems like a lot of the cards that you get, the U.S. printed cards, are kind of like that, where they're smudged. It just looks like they're smudged. It's gross. You know what I'm talking about. Um, but the cards I have pulled out from some of the newer sets, going with, even a premium card, the Modern Horizons type of stuff. You know what happens with these foils. You get all these things. I got some from Duskmorn. I don't even remember the name of this set. Duskborn, whatever it is. The '80s horror theme deck. The This one, the core set. Was it? Blimey, Foundations. But yeah, I mean, the one of the biggest things is your foil quality now. It used to be foils were actually a thing, and then like this one's not only a foil that's bending, but the art's just kind of hard to see. Doesn't look well inked or something. This guy looks kind of faded. This is a pretty nice foil, actually. The Sewer of Chouse here. You get a nice contrast with the foil and the actual art, which is cool. But it's warped like everything else. Just lost my train of thought. But for comparison, oh yeah, foils. Let's go back to a time when foils actually mattered, when they were actually rare, Here's again something from the Urza's hammer set, whatever. Looks good. Foil's nice. I'm not sure if I like having just the border foil as opposed to the modern where you get the art foiled as well. I mean, if the art's good, it looks good. But anyway, and this, you probably can't tell, but that's as straight as a, you know, piece of cardboard should be. This is, was it 1999? This Urza set came out. This card is nigh 26 years old. It's not warped. It ain't warped. Let's get another example here. We got Mom. Let's take a look. Mom, Mother of Runes. Everything's nice and shiny. Oh, you can tell. Yeah, this one's, kind of cloudy. It's been scuffed. It's been a well-used Mom. Again, straight as a board. No warping. No nothing. It's, it's as a card should be. And, yeah, as I mentioned, this is back in the day when foils were like one per box you would get. If you're wondering out there why a lot of these older sealed boxes are worth so much, like core sets, sixth, seventh edition, sixth had foils, right? Seventh had foils. This was back when they were white bordered, the core sets. But foils would have a black border and be foiled. So getting a black bordered reprint was kind of cool, but then getting it foil was even cooler. And the rarity there is what drives up a lot of the prices for certain foils and for sealed product. But what do you get these days? You get a foil in every pack. Yippee! I think there was another point I was trying to make there too, or not. I'm trying not to complain too much. I'm trying not to complain too much about Wizards, but what are you gonna do? I guess that's pretty much it for the video today. Just a lazy rambling about the way things used to be. That's about it. I'm gonna go kind of chill out. Gonna chill. Totally random insert here. Here's Bob Ross. The Art of Chill game. If you're a casual board gamer out there, check it out. It's a very simple, chill game. Before we get, oh man, too crazy here. We're going off the rocker here, what have you. That's it, folks. Have a good night. Chill out. Buy some old Magic cards.